good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome back to Screen Weens.
Welcome. Did we show this off last week on
What?
camera? Your little Star Wars guy here?
Oh, I don't know. This is Droopy McCool. He's a part of the Max Rebo band. He's pretty cool. He's like my third favorite member.
Iconic.
He is iconic. I'm gonna do a full back tattoo of him.
That's fair.
We should get a giant wall scroll of the Max Rebo band.
Yeah, no. Your house, do whatever you want. I mean, I like Max Rebo. Who doesn't love Blue Elephant bands? I remember that time we filmed that, I think it was try to guess the Star Wars character.
Yeah.
And then I lost all the footage, but...
we only had footage. We made 3 videos that day, and we only had footage for one.
Yeah.
Star Wars quizzes one.
Yeah. And you were so shocked when I was like, Max Rebo, I know that one.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked. I'm like, what?
It's because there was a Robot Chicken sketch that was like an infomercial for one of his CDs that I remember.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
Good times. Let me just make sure I have enough space on this fucking... Yeah, I got it. It's fine. Yeah. Cool. Welcome back to Screen Weens, home of the Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. We haven't even done any official, aside from the Star Wars quizzes.
Yeah, we need to make more Star Wars content.
Oh, I guess you have your episode 9 review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Like one of the... It's me talking about how much I hate episode 9 when I love Star Wars. Sad.
So, Rosario Dawson's in the new Mandalorian season as...
She's playing Ahsoka Tano, yeah.
I heard about some controversy surrounding her that makes me not excited for that.
Yeah, I don't know how much truth is to that, but it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
I don't really think she's a good fit for the character either way, which is sad, so... But we'll see. Hopefully it's a good... Also, one of the main characters in The Mandalorian, the actress came out as, like, an anti-masker.
Oh.
And I was like, oh...
Yeah.
But Pedro Pascal is really cool. The guy who plays the Mandalorian. And he's like, yeah, I'm a cool guy.
Oh, okay. So he's always wearing a mask from what I see.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I'm excited for that. I haven't watched the trailer. I might just not.
I watched the trailer. And I haven't even seen the first season. I was just like, oh, well, let's see what this is. So, yeah. It looked alright.
Can everybody see my cool hot dog shirt? Probably not.
Where's the iconic hat?
I'm what?
Do you
Can
still
they
have
see it on camera?
Yeah, they can see it.
Should I just do this the whole podcast?
Yeah, just...
I'll go get the hat. Oh. I was thinking, once it gets a little colder, I'll start wearing the suit.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty warm right now.
Yeah. Where is that?
Well, yeah, so I guess while he's gone, I'll explain something we're doing from this point on the podcast that I think is going to be pretty cool. You can see him walking around back there. Yeah, so we're going to be doing this thing at the end of episodes that don't lead into director deep dives, where we're going to be rolling the dice. And essentially, every week, we're going to roll a pair of dice. And if we get snake eyes, so 2 1s, for those of you who don't know what snake eyes are, fucking dummies, we'll pull 2 picks out of this bag here, and we'll pick just terrible shit. Just the worst.
I cannot find the hat.
Yeah, it's not important.
I'll get the hat
At some
next
other
time.
point. Yeah.
Also, I have something to talk to you about that. I think that 1, 2 1s, that's too low of a chance.
So doubles?
That's too high of a chance. I was just going to say, if we get 3 or 4, 2, 3, or 4. Just a low number on the spectrum.
So
2, 3, or 4.
for the whole total of both dice?
Yeah, we'll roll 2d6.
So if it's an even number, we'll
What? No, 2, 3, or 4.
Oh, 2, 3, or 4.
In total, yeah. So just anything on the low spectrum. It'll make it a little chancy.
Okay. We're gonna be watching a lot of shit a lot of the time.
Just don't roll low.
Yeah. Okay. Good strat. Also, maybe we should hash out one or two of the details here. I think each one of us pulls one pick out. Does each one of us roll one die? Is that how that's going to work, or are we just going to take turns?
Whoever's turn it should be. So, like, today, you'll roll the die.
Okay.
Because it'll be there. And then, are we just going to move your turn to the next available spot?
That's what I was thinking.
So, like, if we rolled today, that would mean we'd have a shit. Then we'd have the director deep dive, I think?
Yeah.
And then your pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say...
And we can't do... Let's say we can't do 2 in a row. So if we're doing one...
Yeah.
We are not going to roll on that go.
Yeah. That would be...
We'll just make a bunch of rules for no reason.
Yeah, we'll just...
this random thing we're doing.
We'll just do whatever we fucking feel like. So...
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be exciting. We'll find out if we're watching either a trilogy... an original versus remake, or if we're picking one from the bag, because I'm going to give London an option if it falls on my choice.
By the way, I will tell you one thing in that bag. I put To Boldly Flee in that bag.
All right, well, I'll tell you one thing from the bag. I picked the first 10 episodes of the...
Family Guy.
Yeah, of season 18 of Family Guy.
Could you really? Why?
Because I wanted to put...
10 episodes? That's a lot.
That's like, what? That's like 3 hours, maybe?
That's a lot, man. Okay. That's okay, I guess. Ooh, that's going to be rough. There's just going to be nothing to talk about. I'll be like, they did the same joke every episode. Didn't like it very much. Yeah.
Well, we'll be covering like something else with it, too.
Okay.
Pulling 2 picks out of the bag.
To Boldly Flee, the 4-hour movie, and 4 hours of family.
Woo! That would be a week.
Yeah.
That's the fun of the bag, though. You never know what we're gonna have to endure. Well, except for us. But he only knows one of my picks, and I only know one of his. So.
I feel like that To Boldly Flee is probably in the middle of the bad scale.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember what I put in there. Family Guy might be the bottom of the bar. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Family Guy's the bottom. All right. Well, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, I thought someone knocked on the window. It was just a firework.
Yeah, it's the Bye-Bye Man.
I watched all of the Conjuring universe movies.
Some of them aren't bad.
Yeah, no, I think I walked away.
You liked, from what I saw, it seemed like you liked the first 2 Conjuring movies and the second Annabelle, which is the prequel,
Creation. Yeah,
which is by David F. Sandberg, which is I really like that guy.
Yeah, there was only one that because I gave lower scores to some of them, but I still got enjoyment out of them. I was like, all right, this is a fun, campy, dumb movie. Mainly the one that I didn't like was La Llorona. I thought that one was just as you said in your review, the propaganda and the fact that it's a white woman for
it's just
folklore, and it's just
because the Nun was really bad, but it was funny. That movie made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, towards the end I was like, all right, I'm kind of getting into the Nun now.
I'm French Canadian, whatever he says.
I was kind of legit pissed though, because I had seen the first Conjuring, but I hadn't seen the second one, and the Nun opens with spoiler for Conjuring 2.
So you watched the Nun before you watched the Conjuring 2?
Yeah, because I had only seen the first Annabelle and the first Conjuring. So
I guess we don't even have to say the spoiler. I know what you're talking about.
So I had seen that, and I was like, huh? What the fuck? Why would you put that there? But
sad because the Conjuring 2, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Or at least the last time I watched it, which was a couple years
I'd say I thoroughly enjoyed both of the Conjuring movies. I'm looking forward to the third one, but I'm a little scared because it's a different director. It's not James Wan. So, who knows?
He's too busy making Aquaman 2.
Oh yeah. But
and then you watched Haunting in Connecticut 1 and 2.
yep. And I watched a werewolf movie called Howl. That was actually pretty decent. I actually kind of like that one.
Yeah, woo!
Woo! But no, I largely took a break from the werewolf movies this week. I'm gonna hop into it hot and fresh this week, though.
And then you got to start making your videos soon.
Yeah.
Do you have any recorded, ready?
I'm gonna record them tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So, and start editing. They're short, spoiler-free reviews. They're not like super long.
They're
so.
17-minute reviews each one.
If I had included spoilers, they probably would have been, because I would have been like, I hate this. But if I cut out spoilers, then I can just kind of generally talk about things. In general. Yes. But yeah, so pretty much my week.
Well, I've continued watching Bleach. I'm almost on season 3. I think we have like 3 or 4 more episodes. I watched this anime called Giant Robo. No.
Oh, yeah. I think I may have watched that one, too.
And then I watched the sequel. We finished The Hunger Games.
I'm sorry.
They're all bad.
I would have assumed
I
so.
remembered really liking at least the second one. And it was much better than the other ones, but they're all bad. We also started to watch... We watched The Giver, which is another young adult adaptation. It's really bad. Well, it was bad. I want to say it's really bad, but it was bad.
Okay.
And then we watched Divergent yesterday.
Oh.
That movie's awful.
Yeah.
We're watching the second and third soon. And then there's this movie by McG that came out a couple years ago called The Babysitter that I remember thinking was pretty lame, but kind of like
Is
fun.
that the horror movie?
Yeah.
The one that just got a sequel?
Yeah, I'm saying that because I watched the sequel.
I plan on watching both of those this week,
I remember,
maybe?
I watched the first one right when it came out. I remember liking it just because I thought it was dumb, but I knew it was dumb. But in this one, it goes too overboard, and it's just kind of annoying the whole time. But then there's a South Korean zombie movie that came out called #Alive.
Oh yeah,
I watched that. It was okay. It has the main character from Burning. He's the main character. In that.
Okay.
That's one of the main reasons I watched it.
Is Peninsula out yet?
It's I could probably find it somewhere, but it hasn't gone. I've heard it's really bad, which is sad.
Oh, okay. I have no expectations for it because I still haven't seen Train to Busan. I need to, though.
You could just watch the whole trilogy now.
Yeah, that's kind of what
Which is, I was kind of expecting Peninsula to be bad because it seems like, I don't know if it's just the couple movies I've seen from the director, but I love Train to Busan, but the first animated prequel to Busan one is awful. Me and Pierre watched Truth or Dare, not the Blumhouse one. There was a sci-fi original one that came out a year, 6 months prior.
Oh, okay.
It actually wasn't the worst. I thought it was bad, but...
Better than the Blumhouse one?
Much better. I think the Blumhouse one is, bottom of the barrel. This one, I think, had, lots of funny moments. It also... Pretty much one of the main characters from What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show, is in that. So I was just laughing at that the whole time, wow, he really made it. He was in this garbage, and then he got to be in that.
Yeah.
And then I watched Friend Request.
Oh, yeah. Bad, I assume?
Terrible.
Better than Unfriended?
No. Worse.
Oh, wow.
Probably. I don't know. The first Unfriended's fucking garbage. Second Unfriended is garbage, but really funny as well. I just want to watch garbage that's really funny, and I feel like tech horror should be the place to go for that. But most of the time, it's just really boring. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we watched Wolf Cop together last Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch the sequel yet?
No, with the sequel, I'm waiting to watch that one because I can't find an illegal copy of it anywhere. So I'm gonna have to rent it, and when I do that, I'm gonna have to go through and take some images for it for the video, so I have some reference material to go alongside it. So I'm waiting until pretty much that's probably gonna be one of the last ones I end up watching. I've got it towards like the later part of the schedule, so.
Epic.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's what I've been up to. Playing board games.
I started the 7th Howling movie this week, and I turned it off. Like, it.
I have to.
Like.
I have to regain my strength.
Yeah, I needed a little bit of a charge after watching the first few minutes of that, because, like, Howling 1 and 2 are bad. Howling 1 is, like, bad in a boring way. It's just kind of like a boring, plain movie. Yeah. Howling 2 is where it starts getting kind of, like, ridiculous, and I wasn't crazy on Howling 2. I could see why someone would get, like, enjoyment out of it. 3, I got, like, that, like, oh, this is bad, but it's kind of entertaining and interesting. Mm-hmm. 4 was, like, a carbon copy of the first one, and then...
the marsupial one?
That's the 3rd one.
Oh, okay.
And then the 5th one was... like a murder mystery that I'm assuming probably just ripped off The Beast Must Die. I haven't watched that one yet, but I need to. It's similar premise where it's like murder mystery, Knives Out, but one of them's a werewolf. And then 6 was like Freak Show, and they're all like basic, like, I don't know, straight to video movie quality from like.
Do they have
the 80s.
Any like overlap, or are they all just about werewolves?
The first 2 have overlap. Like you see the main character from the first one, her brother is one of the main characters in the second one, and then there's like the main antagonist from 2 you see like a picture of in 3, but aside from that, like, no, they're all pretty much their own thing. Like, you could pretty much jump into any of them and have the same amount of idea of what's going on as if you were to watch the ones before it. So yeah, not a very cohesive series. It's just kind of like, hey, we're making a werewolf movie and we've got the rights to this like franchise name that'll probably make this movie a little bit more money than it would have made otherwise.
Joe Dante made the first one, guys. You gotta go see the 7th one.
Yeah, exactly. But the 7th one, like, from the little bit I saw, maybe the quality I have, or the copy I have, just the quality is super low, but it was like, it seemed like it was like, not quite Blood Shack levels of low quality, but it was like close, and I was just like, I'm not prepared for
Blood
this.
Shack. Trying to find a fucking good shot from Blood Shack to pair with Portrait of a Lady on Fire for that thumbnail.
I would have just chose like something from one of the rodeos or something.
I was thinking about,
I'm just gonna pick the guy holding the shovel, and he has no shirt on.
Yeah.
But then I did find one that was actually pretty decent. And it makes it look like it's a much better movie. You know?
I'm trolling our audience. Oh, yeah, that's been fun. It's been nice, like, going through and making thumbnails again, because I'm just like remembering all these movies.
Yeah, no, I've been going through like the really early episodes, and I was just like, oh fuck, I remember this movie. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't remember this movie very well. Like Vampire.
Yeah, Vampire. Like,
I remember there's like a floating skull in a scene where he's like in the coffin. And that's
I remember
like
the scene in like the crypt or whatever. Like, I remember like 2 scenes, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Hopefully, like some of Carl T.H. Steiger's like other work is pretty good.
He did Joan of Arc, right?
He did Joan of Arc.
That's incredible. I really want to watch.
I want to see the big one. I want to see is Orday.
Yeah. There's a couple I really want to see, but Vampire like actually like maybe turned me off a little bit, because I remember liking Vampire, like, kind of, but I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to watch another movie that I just like kind of like.
I'm hoping it's kind of like a similar thing I have with like F.W. Murnau, because like I wasn't super crazy on like Sunrise. I think that's the one movie, but Taboo and like Nosferatu and like his other work is like.
I really like Sunrise, but
I can see how some people. It's really weird in its like pacing and structure.
Yeah.
I remember when I was writing my review for that originally, it feels like 2 completely different movies kind of put together.
Yeah.
And it's like really weird in the way they structure it. But
I kind of want to watch Taboo again. I have the Blu-ray for that.
Blu-ray for Taboo?
Mm-hmm.
We should watch Taboo.
We should pick it for the podcast one of these days.
We need to do more silent. When was the last time we did a silent film?
It's been a while. We haven't.
We've only Vampire and The Goddess? Are those the only 2?
They might be. We did silent films, I think, more for like the movie club than we did for actual.
Well, and even that, I think that was only
one movie club, but we just watch like 4 in the same day.
Yeah. I like silent movies, so I'm not opposed to that.
I think so.
Oh, damn. I remember, like, early in the podcast that, like, there were points where I was, like, counting on my fingers. I'm like, all right, we just did a silent movie. We can't do a silent movie. So that must have only been, like, once or twice. Damn.
I'm trying to look, but yeah, I don't... I guess so.
Huh. Damn. Maybe I'll just scrap the OG versus remake and the trilogy and just pick a couple silent movies.
Yeah. Let's go on to question time then, I guess.
Okay. But, alright. Pierre's question
We
corner.
only have questions from Pierre this time. Do you think cinema is dying? Between people realizing that theaters are hives of disease and the next generation being into tic-tacking, what chance does traditional film making have? Well, I think that saying that film is like cinema is an art form is dying is a bit strange. Like I could see the argument that theaters in general are dying because they have been for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Because it's just not profitable, like in our climate, and most people would just prefer to sit at home. Like video on demand is the next place to be, pretty much, just because a lot of people, or even like drive-through theaters, like people don't want to pay $9 to go watch a movie in a crowded theater.
Yeah.
At least the vast majority of the time, especially now. With
I don't want to go see The Farewell and have some old dude in the assigned seat next to me just start snoring halfway through the movie.
Yeah. It's just a broken system right now. And, like, I have a Regal Unlimited card that I like to use, but that's because I go to movies when nobody's there.
Yeah.
And it's, like, much cheaper because I watch so many movies, but the vast majority of people don't do that.
Yeah. Like, I had free access to movies for a long time. And I barely ever fucking went to the movies because I was just like, I don't care. I'll just wait till I can watch it on my laptop at home.
Yeah. But I don't think that the film industry is necessarily dying.
No.
However, I could theoretically see the reintegration of a lot of more mid-budget movies, because
We need that.
I agree. I think that mid-budget movies are more important than like high-budget movies.
Yeah, they used to be a big thing, but then like once like blockbusters started doing really well in the late 2000s, they basically just got fucking, they're gone. Like there aren't too many middle budget movies nowadays, which is sad because you get some really great stuff from just middle budget movies.
Yeah. Or even low-budget movies.
Yeah.
I could see that budgets go down kind of across the board just because less people go to theaters, especially now.
Yeah.
We'll see how long COVID lasts. If it lasts for 2 more years, like that'll be a real substantial impact on the
Industry,
filmmaking industry.
I think
in
it'll
general.
bounce back eventually, though. Like
Yeah.
they'll find a new way to cope. Like I think it may be like books. Like maybe one day it won't be like necessarily the powerhouse that it was at one point. Like because at one point, you know, everybody fucking read all the time, and now it's like people are like, I mainly just read my phone or whatever. Yeah, I mean, obviously people still read books, and they're still out there. They still exist. So same thing with cinema. It'll just be less common
and just different. And I don't even know if it'll be less common. It'll just be a little different, pretty much. Thanks for the question. I also don't think that TikToks have much impact. I think vertical cinema is going to be more prevalent in the next couple of years. Because I think there have been a couple things. There's a couple experimental films, a couple things coming out that I think there will be some stuff that utilize that more, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Question number 2. Who is your favorite character from Lord of the Rings, and should they get their own television show on HBO Max?
Samwise Gamgee. No.
Me too, and yes. But only if he's like a gardener
and it's just like gardening tips, and it's like a reality show, but it's like a mockumentary about how he's like the greatest gardener in the Shire, and like
Just everyone's like, hey, isn't that the guy who like helped Frodo with the One Ring and like
And
saved?
he's like, shut up! Stop talking about that! I'm a gardener!
Yeah. He's just over crying. He's like, I miss Frodo. He's got a wife now, though. Like in the books, like he gets like a wife afterwards and stuff.
Yeah, he does it in the movies too.
I don't. It's been like at least since my freshman year since I last watched the movies.
I rewatched them pretty recently, all the extended editions. Such a treat. Such a treat. Some movies are just treats, you know?
I feel those movies definitely are treats.
Yeah. I also like Treebeard.
It's fair.
He could have his own show.
Yeah.
He's like a skateboarder.
He's not in the Lord of the Rings movies, but Tom Bombadil, he's begging for
that'd be a good he could theoretically have his own show. Like,
Yeah.
that's the only person that actually makes sense to have their own show.
They could tap. I mean, they're like doing TV shows for like. It's not stuff adapted from the Silmarillion, but they're like allowed to make their own stories in the universe. It's weird, but
And they are doing their still moving forward with their adaptation of Lord of the Rings. Amazon, right?
well, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
They got the rights to basically. It's like you can create your own stuff. You can't adapt from like Lord of the Rings or the Silmarillion, but
Okay.
it'll take place in the world.
Gosh.
It's a strange agreement, and I'm interested to see how it's going to turn out. Probably not good, but maybe they've got like a certified, like
lore expert.
yeah, exactly. So who knows? Maybe it will be pretty good.
Question number 3. If David Lynch had to choose between saving the love of his life or a cable car full of children, what would he do? Also, in this scenario, the Green Goblin is 9 feet tall and has a crossbow.
I don't know. Do I look like fucking David Lynch? Only he can answer that question.
I would assume, knowing what I know about David Lynch, that he would try to save the children. Because I think in general, when I think of David Lynch, like in interviews and stuff, even though his movies are like wonky and some of them are really depressing, I feel like in general he's kind of an optimistic guy.
Yeah.
And he wants like the world to be a better place. So I would assume that even if like he would lose the love of his life, he would save like a bunch of children instead because they're like the future. And he's like, I'm old as fuck.
Yeah. Fair. I feel like he'd be like stuck between the
think he'd be
two,
able to
and then
save them
he'd
both,
see
though.
the third option, which is a big pile of cigarette butts and black coffee, and
And he's like, kill them both.
I'm diving right in. Catch this on your cell phone.
David Lynch should have played Spider-Man.
And
He still could.
yeah, it's not too late.
He should be in the next Spider-Verse movie.
He should play like Doc Ock or something.
He should play Doc.
Yeah.
He should have played the Riddler.
There we go.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Get out of here, Paul Dano.
What's the photo for?
He would have made a pretty good Riddler. Justin Theroux or whatever his name is.
He would have.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for the questions, Pierre. But now it is time to talk about some weeb shit.
Giant Robo, the day the
day
earth
the earth
stood still.
So I just kind of found this one day. I sometimes just like scroll through Letterboxd and I'll like randomly watch like anime OVAs sometimes that are like an hour.
Yeah.
Because I like seeing things that a lot of people like have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go through like the list that they're in, like hidden gems and stuff. And this was always in like a bunch of them. So I'm like, yeah, I'll look at this and try to watch.
Seems real fucking hidden, alright. No, I'm just kidding.
It's apparently like it's decently popular in certain circles and stuff.
Yeah,
but
it seems like in Japan it was pretty influential.
I know
'cause
it
it's-
has a Blu-ray release and stuff. And it's I don't know if they touched it up or not, but this, in my opinion, this anime looks incredible. A lot of times.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And I really like the music in this too. A lot of the time, like the big operatic scores. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, no, the series had definitely some inspiration. I was looking like the creator of Akira was inspired by this. I don't remember seeing Anno's name, but I think it'd be kind of hard for him not to be inspired by this. There was a lot of Ava-esque stuff in this.
Yeah.
So.
So, if you don't know this, well, you did end up watching the dub, right? The second dub?
Yeah.
You watched the first episode sub, though?
Mm-hmm.
How was that? I was gonna switch back and forth, but then I started watching the dub, I'm like, it's Dan Green!
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna watch the other ones.
It's good. Like, both are good.
The first dub's apparently really bad, mainly because,
I looked at the cast and I saw a lot of, I'm blanking on his name. He's the voice of Char in the old Gundam, and he does, like, Spike, and he's famous. I can't think of his name I'm having a brain fart. I'll think of it later.
Original dub, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, I forget. He did, like, a voice act. He was, like, the best voice actor for all these terrible old dubs.
But the first dub, so the first series in general, it took 6 years to adapt. This 7-part. It was supposed to take place. They were supposed to release it, I think, in a year and a half with, or maybe 2 years. I think they just wanted to do like a 4-month gap in between each episode. That's what they did with a lot of like old OVA series.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened, but it ended up. They did the first like 4 episodes pretty quickly, like on that time frame, but the last couple episodes took a while. So like the main character, what's his name?
Daisaku? Yeah.
Daisaku, he was voiced by like 3 different people throughout the run, and I think a couple of the other characters had to be switched and stuff, just because people were like, it's been like 2 years, I gotta go do other stuff. Let me guys.
Yeah.
But so the newer dub's better because everyone was there.
Yeah.
And I listened to a couple dub comparisons. I think in general, the original dub doesn't really match the tone of the world it's in, because the world's very like retro futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
So like Astro Boy or something similar to that.
Yeah, no, it's based off of a 60s manga,
Yeah.
so it's like it has that same visual style.
I think the newer dub, even though it's newer, it mimics like kind of 60s, 70s anime really well. Like it reminded me of like the original Gundam in a lot of the voice work.
Yeah.
And I love the Gundam dubs and stuff. But I think it matches the tone a lot better than the original dub. So that's why I was watching it.
Fair.
Plus Angry.
Steve Bloom was the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was having a major brain fart.
There was also a fun little thing. Do you remember... What's his name? Heizu? No.
I have like the character list with their pictures pulled up here. Which character?
It's the guy. He's part of the big, big fire. Red. What's the villain's name? Big Fire.
It's like Big Fire.
That made me laugh. I started watching it. It's like the enemy, Big Fire. I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. Genya, Lord Alberto. I can like scroll up a little bit down.
He was only in the last like 2 episodes.
Which one are you specifically?
He was like the main one.
The one with like the darker hair.
Yeah, he was voiced by the guy who did like Seto Kaiba and like Brock. And stuff.
Okay.
I just thought it was funny that it was Kaiba and Yuki in the same anime.
Yeah, there was the Daisuke or Daisaku.
Yeah.
He was voiced by Rickards, and Kevin G. Collins, who does the voice of Griffith, was doing the voice of the Professor. So I was like,
there's a bunch of. I really like all of the voices were pretty recognizable in this.
Erica Schroeder, who does the original 4Kids Luffy, did the voice of Yoshi, and I thought it was hands down the worst voice in the dub. I was just like, I hate
Which is sad because I really like the character of Yoshi's design and stuff, and I'm like, this voice is not very good.
Yeah, that was like the only major character where I was like, oh, this is really off-putting.
I think I liked all the other voices except for Yoshi.
Yeah, Sean Schemmel's take on, what's his name? Tetsuguyu? I can't fucking pronounce that, I'm sorry. The one guy who's like...
The big brother? Or the younger brother?
The little big bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, there's a line that he does, like in the cave later on. That's a great line delivery. I really like the line. It's something like, he's talking about, we're just going to jump around and do some spoilers and then talk about it in total. But he talks about how was like jealous and really angry at this kid because he was getting all the credit and he was like doing it. And then he's like, but once I saw you sad, I realized that it's just kind of like my own reflection of my own sadness because we're like the same person because both of their parents were in Big Fire or whatever. But Daisaku's dad left or was going to leave.
Yeah, Daisaku's dad had like the beginning couple steps of a redemption arc before he died.
Killed.
Yeah.
And that's when he gave him, he's like, here's the car keys for this giant robot monster thing.
Yeah. And then the immortal dude's like, no, don't do that.
What the fuck are you doing?
With his French accent.
But this guy's like, but I killed my own father. And he's like, but I would happily sacrifice my life.
Yeah.
In the hopes that you become a better man than me or something like that. And I was like, I really like that line.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really depressing shit.
Yeah, I loved that whole sequence and I was like, great, love it. He Boromired himself. Great. And then they brought him back at the end. I'm like, no, why? He didn't even serve any function. He was just like, I'm back for this one save. And it's just like, all right, I'm in the background.
I didn't mind it too much. I was like, what? But they killed off most of the cast in this.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, well, good for you, really.
If you don't know, a lot of the characters in this aren't from this series.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had seen.
So this series in general, this OVA series, was supposed to mean kind of like an homage to kind of
the author's work.
What's his name?
Yeah, so basically they had gotten the rights to do this, but they weren't allowed to use...
They didn't have the rights to any of like the side or supporting characters.
Yeah, from the manga. But they were given the rights to use characters from his other work, which is where there's like...
Yeah, I think they specifically went up to him and was like, hey, are you okay if we use these characters?
Yeah, so that's where like all the characters like towards the end with like the Spectacular 10 or whatever the fuck they're called.
Magnificent 10 and Celestial 9.
Yeah.
Magnificent 10 being the bad guys, Celestial 9 being the enforcers of
justice. Fucking pigs. No, I'm... Oh. Excuse me. But, yeah, one of my biggest gripes with this series, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, they did really well at explaining, like, some things about how this world works, and then there are just characters who have superpowers, and it's just like, all right, cool. Oh, that guy's a robot, apparently? Okay. And I was like, am I missing dialogue? And I was like, no, just...
I did the first, like, 2 episodes, I rewound a couple of times, going, did they just explain something? Or I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I personally don't necessarily care too much because it's an OVA series that obviously was trying to pick up more like popularity than it got so that they could adapt more stuff. So I'm not, and they are adapting like the middle of a series, but also with a new storyline. So I don't mind it too much, but it was a little hard to watch at times, but I really liked it, and I really like all the powers. Like, all the powers these guys have were really inventive.
Yeah, I just wish I understood their, like, limitations and what they could do.
I get it.
I was just like, oh, okay. Like, because the first time it happened...
There's one guy who's snapping and cutting people in half. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, all right, these must have something to do with the, what are they called?
It's named after that professor.
Shizuma drives?
Shizuma drives,
yeah. I figured, like, oh, maybe there's, like, bionic and something that Shizuma drives.
Which I'm fine with people just having superpowers, but... And I just wanted to know, like, the rule set for those superpowers.
Yeah.
Instead of just being... Or at least just for, like, at least the characters that we spent time with.
Yeah.
Like, the older brother that died, like, episode 3, what was his name? Tosei or something like that?
It's, Taizo.
Taizo. I really like him, too.
Yeah, no, I...
There was a really cool brother dynamic there.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, there was a lot of parts of this OVA that reminded me of Gundam. Like, the different, like, the brother and sister.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of it. Even the main character being 12 and being forced to do a bunch of war crimes, obviously.
Yeah.
And Daisaku was probably one of the weaker parts, in my opinion. Not necessarily he was like a bad character or anything. He was just... He just was...
I'm little boy, big robot.
For little boy robot, yeah. He didn't have as much character as like Amuro or like Simo and stuff like that. But I didn't mind him or anything.
Yeah.
Thought he was a good delivery vehicle. And I really liked the design of Mr. Giant Robo. I liked that it was supposed to be like this big, bulky thing. I think it specifically, I was reading and they're like... traditionally, like, mechas and stuff are designed to kind of look like robot superheroes, which I get, and this one was just supposed to be like, this is a weapon.
Yeah, it kind of, the design of it reminded me a lot of Die Buster. So, I could see them probably ripping from this.
Fuck, Die Buster. Every time I think about that, I get actually angry.
I'm like, whatever, didn't count. Gunbuster only.
Gunbuster works, I think, better on its own than with, like, adding that. I think Buster actually, like, destroys some of, like, the plot of Gunbuster. Not a whole lot, but it's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, just one of those personal grievances kind of deal where it's just like, I'm going to think about this every time I watch Gunbuster now.
I don't really need to. Like, I can separate things fine. I don't get, like, mad at things. I was kind of joking. I'm like, oh, it makes me mad. It's like people that are like, there's only 3 Star Wars movies. I'm like, you can just like 3 Star Wars movies, but you don't have to be like, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But, like, for instance, The Last Jedi, if I watch that, I don't necessarily, like, think it's ruined by thinking about Episode 9. If I watched Episode 9, I'd be like, well, that made me sad, but...
Yeah, I always just think of...
I can just watch Episode 8 and be fine.
I always just think of lost potential. I'm just like, oh, damn. They could have done this with this, but they didn't. I mean, not that that really existed for Gunbuster. I've been dealing with
a lot of lost potential, like, the last couple of weeks with watching these, like, young adult novel adaptations.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily because the novels themselves were, like, good, but just because there are occasionally, like, interesting ideas scattered throughout, and I'm like, but then they just did the same thing as every other fucking novel adaptation.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that was, like, you know, a creator's like, I'm going to create this fucking sick, awesome world. It's going to be like the next Harry Potter. People are going to love it. And then they take it to the, you know, their fucking, like, book agents. And they're like,
pew, pew,
yeah, can you make this exactly like every other novel? Can we just chop it around?
Love triangle, randomly?
Yeah, I think that there's not enough teen romance in this dystopian novel here.
Can you make the main guy love interest just an asshole and then randomly switch?
Alright, I get that you're writing this love story about vampires in Washington, but I really need you to add a baseball scene.
And it's the best scene.
It's the best.
Goddamn.
It's the best
scene. Goddamn hole.
I'm assuming that wasn't Stephanie Meyer. I'm sure it was, but I'm hoping it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure the baseball scene's in the book. Like,
no. I'm joking, but I'm just like, I don't want to credit her for that genius, but I probably should. That slice of pie that she had. Anyway.
So, quick little synopsis. We'll just. So this
Shizuma.
This Shizuma particle or something like that drive. This Shizuma drive is this new thing that they found 10 years ago that pretty much can power everything super, super well. It's like the greatest resource ever. But when they first made it, it destroyed like hundreds of people. It like murdered thousands.
It abolished, like a country disappeared.
And it was all blamed on this Professor Vogler.
Yeah.
And cut to 10 years later, this guy, voiced by Dan Green, named Genyu?
It is Genya.
Genya
and Genrei.
Genya and Genrei.
Which are not their real names, but that's what I'm going to call them throughout this whole episode, because I just remember the Vogler part of their other names. I don't remember.
His name's Emmanuel.
Yeah, I do remember that, okay.
And hers was like Ratho or something stupid. So the son of Vogler is secret son. He doesn't tell anyone until later. But he's trying to pretty much cause the end of the world again so that
his father's name will be like redeemed, kind of, because he wasn't really the one that caused everything to happen.
Yeah.
He's really pissed about it, and he's like, I'm gonna end the world.
By the way, did you see that coming? Because I saw it coming from like 10 miles away.
What? That he's the son, or that he's...
I saw like all the...
Well, he says he's the son, like the very beginning.
Not that bit, but like the whole bit where it's like the doctors or the other scientists turned out to be the ones that like set off the doomsday.
Well, yeah, and I'm like, I thought that was pretty obvious. I think that was meant to be obvious to the viewer, because like the fucking what is it again? Shizuma, the doctor himself, was like, I'm so sorry, I'm the cause of this. So I'm like, okay, he's the one that did it. Like,
yeah.
I don't think that was necessarily supposed to be like a big reveal for us as an audience, but necessarily it could be a big reveal. Like, I think it's fine to have big reveals for characters without them being big reveals for audience.
The way that they presented it later in the story, it felt like it was meant to be a big reveal, and I was like, yeah, I already fucking knew that. Like,
I think maybe
those guys looked evil as fuck in that when it's like the flashing lights, like, get him away, he's gone insane.
They tried to do something like that because they're like, well, I mean, it's been like 3 years since we really brought this in, so maybe it'll be a big reveal now.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's always weird when you're adapting something. It takes 6 years to do 7 episodes, to do like 3 hours of content.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like a good storyline. I don't think anything really was twist worthy.
Yeah.
Except fucking French guy just being like, I can't die.
No, I had seen that coming because he calls himself like the immortal, like in like the second episode, and
I just thought it was just pretentious. He also, I don't know why, but that guy, he looks a lot like Lupin.
He looks exactly like Astro Boy's dad with the hairstyle. Yeah,
it's Astro Boy's dad fused with Lupin.
There we go.
God,
some Lupin would be good right now.
What?
I said some Lupin would be good right now.
I've been thinking about picking a couple Lupin movies, or just like, we could even just do like part 1, because I think it's only like 20
13 episodes.
13, yeah. I really like Lupin.
Fair.
I need to watch more Detective Conan. I keep forgetting to. I still have only seen like 10 episodes or whatever, because I want to watch a bunch of those movies too.
Yeah.
But so this little boy, he controls the giant robot.
He's got a big wristwatch that he talks into.
It's literally just them traveling around, people getting the shit beat out of them and killed, and him trying to save the world, pretty much.
Also, another gripe I had with it, there's like this whole arc, kind of like, what is it, like episode 2 or 3? I think it's episode 3 where it happens, but basically like, he takes the robot to go fight this, basically,
Big Ball.
Big Ball, the fucking thing from TMNT, essentially. Not really, but kinda. What's that thing called? I don't know if I can remember off the top of my head. It's like that, it's like the iconic thing that, like, Crane hangs in. It's like his headquarters.
I can't remember the name.
Anyway.
Spear Boy.
So, yeah, he, Daisaku tries to like use the robot to defeat that, and then it fucks the robot up, and he's like, alright, I'm just gonna like leave you here because you're not responding to me. And he goes through this whole arc where he's like, oh, I get it.
I failed the robot.
Yeah, the robot is got like feelings and stuff, so I should take that into account from now on. And then he just doesn't until like the very end, and then it seems like, alright, because he's just like, let's do this, robot, and it never feels like that really amounted to anything. Like, it didn't feel like it had very much impact.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
And it feels honestly like...
Their dynamic didn't change at any point.
And it feels like it'd have like big repercussions if the story continued on, like in the final arc. Because it's supposed to be like in the middle of like 3 arcs pretty much. And it just feels like not necessarily wasted potential in this series, but it feels like this could lead to something really cool. Because I'm not necessarily... I'm fine with it not necessarily having anything happen in this series, because it was a pretty short amount of time, so that I could see the robot being like, okay, you're okay, and still listening to the kid, because it was only 2 days. But I just wish there was more.
Yeah.
Like there was another series, like there was a movie or something.
I did not see it at the end, when like, one thing I did not see coming was Alberto, when he turned out to be the fucking ice that was just frozen to the shoulder the whole time. That had caught me off guard. I was like, oh, fuck, okay.
Alberto was a really cool character.
Yeah.
There was Teza, was it Tozai?
Taizo?
Taizo, goddamn, I'm so close each time too. Taizo and him, like, they're about to die, they're fighting, and Alberto's like, no! Our rivalry will not be the backdrop to some fucking kid or whatever.
Yeah.
And I really like that line.
And then Taizo's just like, too bad. Like, I'm dead.
You're gonna die. And then Taizo dies and Alberto's comes back and...
Yeah, he has a couple, like, fake death.
Alberto, like, dies like 4 times or some shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm still here!
There was a part earlier where he's, like, gets bandaged up by, like, all those, like, sticker things. I don't know what they're called, sorry. But, it's like...
those, like, little mini,
like, the illusionary things,
or whatever they're... seals, I think they're, like, seals.
And then he, like... It's like he cuts off his head, and I figured like they were just gonna do like a thing where it was like he like just popped up his head like normal, like he had just like ducked inside, but they like do like the full like his head went into like the collar of his shirt because he pops up headless, and then his like head just boop, pops out again. And I was like, oh, okay.
Some of my favorite animation was with that monk guy. I can't remember his name, but he was like shifting into other animals.
Yeah,
and, like
that initial scene where he shows
stuff.
up and he like slices open his hand on the car.
Yeah,
Like,
there was a lot of really cool shit. I really like the visual world building of this show.
Yeah.
I know. It's my main problem is just there's not enough of this world building and like explanations and stuff. Which is sad because I really like what was said.
Yeah.
I really like most of the characters, like power sets and stuff. I just wanted more, so I'm gonna have to read them all.
Yeah, it's only like I think it's only 40 chapters.
And I'm probably gonna have to read all the other mangas because a lot of these characters aren't even from this.
Yeah,
Like fucking,
exactly. Like,
what was his name? The Kenji Kurosama or whatever. He was the immortal, the pink jacket guy. I know it was Kenji something, but I think he's from another.
Kenji Murasame.
That was close.
Yeah.
He was from another series. I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure that had his own adaptation. And in the English dub, I'm pretty sure his name's Dick Strong.
Okay.
I just want you to know that.
Well,
But yeah, like, I really liked this show. Personally, I don't know what you thought of it, but
I thought it was pretty good.
I had a ton of fun.
I thought it was a little, like I said, I wish they would have explained things more.
Yeah.
I thought, like, this is a typical anime problem, but I thought it leaned a little too much on exposition at times, especially in the
There's
earlier.
so much exposition.
Like that first,
I love it.
Yeah, that first episode, I was like, oh fuck, okay, you're just throwing it all at me now.
I think it's mostly a main problem with the first episode, and I think that comes down to the fact with OVA, like,
They've got a lot to establish.
A lot to establish, and then they have such a big break, so they really need to make sure that the people that watch this will come back so they know everything, because I guess if people were confused, they might not come back in like a year or whatever.
Yeah.
So I get it. I think it's not necessarily as much of a problem as with this material as with
The art form in general of making like OVA series.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like there are limitations that you have to hit certain things. And it's unfortunate because it sometimes limits how good something can be. I still really enjoyed this. I think it's I really, really fucking like how like 80s and 90s anime looks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my favorite time usually. I like a lot of early 2000s stuff as well. I feel like in general, a lot of new anime just doesn't capture me as much. I think it's a little too sleek.
It's finally getting to a point where, currently, I think the animation is starting to like, they're starting to do a really good job at replicating like the grit from the 80s and 90s that I like so much into this newer digital style. So I'm adjusting to it more. I think give it like another like 5-10 years and they're gonna like perfect the way it looks.
I definitely feel it, but I think there's also something charming about certain like limitations in like older anime. Like, I like just characters, like, sliding across the screen. I just think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of this, that, and this, though. I feel like most of the frames were pretty, like, packed.
Yeah, no, they really had a
it
decent...
makes sense why this took so fucking long to make.
Yeah, no, they had a decent frame rate for it. Like, the animation for the action sequences was super smooth. You could see just how much they were animating
Yeah,
per
there's, like,
second.
every frame I felt like had so much fucking stuff.
Yeah, no, it was really impressive, and I was very pleased with the way this show looks. I am both a fan of that style of animation and also just that style of drawing from like the early fucking like 60s manga.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it's a really good adaptation for something to feel like it's from the 60s. I think it was... It didn't feel like it was animated in the 60s, but I think it captured the essence pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of complaints with it, personally. I know you had a couple, but most of it I just thought was really fun. I really like the music and the animation. I think that the first episode might be the weakest, just because of all the exposition they had to do, but the first, 20 minutes of that episode, when it's just fucking Ginrei, is that her name?
Ginrei
and the big bro,
yeah,
whatever his name is, and they're, fighting that robot, and then fucking big Robo shows up, giant Robo. That whole sequence was fucking great, in my opinion. I had so much fun with that one.
Yeah.
They're, running on the train tracks.
God, that initial, sequence, though, when they're, first on the train, caught me so off guard. Because I didn't see the little, thing to indicate that they were people wearing masks, and I thought it was just really racist depictions of black people, and I was like...
I'm like... Whoa, if you were zoomed in a little bit.
Yeah, there were certain frames where, you couldn't see it, and it's they just put a lot of shadow on the face, and I was just like, I don't like this. Thankfully, they don't, that group of lackeys, they don't stick around beyond the first episode. You might see them, you'll see them around.
In the base a couple of times.
But they're not,
most of the time, it's just big guy versus big guy and stuff like that. Or
yeah.
Superpower versus superpower.
We didn't talk much about, I guess we talked a little bit about fucking Emmanuel, but we didn't talk too much about Ginrei. They both have teleportation powers.
And yeah, but it's super damaging to them.
Yeah.
And it's she fucking teleports in the final episode, and she loses the bottom half of her body.
Yeah, and then her brother just shoots her fucking point blank between the eyes.
That was great. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that either.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So that was pretty good. And then
when she got shot, I'm like, oh, somebody else was there. They shot her. And he's going to be like, fuck you, kill my sister. And I'm like, what? He's holding the gun?
Yeah, no, I had the same thing. And for a second, I was like, oh, please do a thing where she was just too transparent for the bullet to actually hit her. And she'll actually
she's just...
Nope, she's fucking gone. And then fucking... Daisaku comes in and he's like, would you have done any differently? And Daisaku's just like,
I'm a child! I'm 12! I only know how to control giant Robo!
Some guy cut the pavement earlier and told me to stay there.
Oh, hi!
Yeah, but, yeah, so...
I really liked Genya, whatever his name was. Personally, I thought he was a pretty interesting antagonist. Maybe it's because I really like
Dan Green as him.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, that's Yu-Gi-Oh!
I thought he was pretty alright for a villain.
I liked that there was some different, overarching villains as well. Behind the scenes. I did like that the beginning of episode 6, the first half, was literally just about the villains fighting each other.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is fun. This is a weird change of pace.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Why is the guy snapping?
Yeah. But
overall, I liked most of the characters. I thought were pretty interesting. Whether that was personality or moveset, there was something about them that I really liked.
Yeah, they're captivating enough to make me go, oh, I like that. They might not be some of them have their dimensions, but a lot of them are pretty I don't know, standard or maybe not by today's standards. They're not super they didn't invent the wheel is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Also, I attribute to this probably being something from the 60s with the source material, but there were points in the series where I thought they were kind of expressing the themes through dialogue a little too on the nose, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave it the benefit of the doubt since it's adapting a 60s manga,
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, whatever. I'm enjoying this, so I'll let it slide.
But if you got 3 hours to kill, or
Close to 4, I guess, actually. I would recommend this. I thought it was
Yeah.
really enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely worth a check out.
Really fucking beautiful.
This series has probably inspired a lot of stuff that you didn't know it inspired. Not directly this anime, but like the manga it's based off of.
And most of his other works as well were pretty popular from what I was reading. So.
Yeah, and the director for this wrote the screenplay for Berserk 97's adaptation. Which is a little fun fact.
Interesting.
So
He did another anime called Getter Robo. Or something like that. And I thought that was like something related to this. I don't think it is. I think it's just a similar thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Huh.
So what would you give this?
Probably 7.
And I'm going to give this an 8. I think.
Okay. It's a 7.5.
Pretty good.
All right, we're gonna roll the dice
Okay,
here.
so I guess
Yeah.
I'll do this.
Okay.
I'll do this. Here's our epic setup for a fucking camera. We just put on a bunch of board games.
Okay.
Everdell's really good. Can you see it? Is this good?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Okay.
We're good.
We don't have to.
watch something shitty to it.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe your thing is shitty though. Anyway, and you're like,
Well, one of them is shitty and one of them is not.
so are we doing a remake or what are we doing?
Your choice. Do you want a
Are you
remake
saying
first?
one of the like the trilogy might be shitty, or both the remake and the original might?
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you which one's shitty.
Um,
but you gotta pick one.
I think I'm feeling a trilogy.
You fucked up. We're watching the Dumb and Dumber trilogy. You want to know what the original versus remake would have been?
Sure.
12 Angry Men.
So that's Dumb and Dumb.
Dumb and Dumber 1 and 2, and then the prequel, Dumb and Dumber, How Harry Met Lloyd, or whatever the fuck it's called. 2 of which are directed by the award-winning Farrelly brothers.
I'm pretty sure the original's only directed by Peter Farrelly.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
One of them
Mom
directed
just
it, but
helped write
yeah,
it.
they're. It's like when
They
you
both
say.
directed the second one.
Yeah, it's like when you say like it's a Coen Brothers movie, directed by the Coen Brothers. Maybe both of them didn't
I
direct it,
remember
but you get
liking
the
2.
association.
I was like one of the only people that liked the second one. I saw it in theaters. I thought it was. I didn't think it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was kind of.
I saw it once in theaters and I wasn't crazy about it.
It wasn't
Maybe
like
I'll
crazy. I'm like, it was fine.
maybe I'll like it.
I'll probably won't like it this time around. I'm really pissed about it.
I also probably.
I have a feeling I probably won't like the first one that much anymore either.
Yeah, I don't know. I might find like collections of scenes funny, but I don't know how I'll feel about it on the whole. Here's hoping.
And I have never seen the Dumb and Dumberer.
You're gonna fucking hate that one.
I have a feeling
It's got Shia LaBeouf in it. He plays a horse.
What?
You'll see. Bob Saget's also in it.
He plays a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I guess we're doing that, and then a director deep dive, or something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Adios.